Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unite Show.
Yay!
My name is Kristall. This is my partner, Shine, and together we are Unite's co-founders. We are hosting this lovely event weekly, the Unite Show, every Thursday night at 6:15. So we're having different themes and different speakers every week. And tonight we are doing finding love and maintaining harmony in relationships. Plus, we're going to have a little singles mingle time at the end with lots of Q&A as well. So stay tuned. That's what you're in for. And we've got three wonderful special guests with us today who have some lovely tips and tricks for not only doing well in your current relationship, but if you're looking how to attract the person you're looking for and really create some solid foundations in your future relationships. So I'd love to introduce and get everyone to say a big hello to our guests. We have Georgia up here in the top with her Christmas tree. We've got Silver over here, and Georgia and Silver are a wonderful couple, although they're currently not locationally together as they're working separately at the moment. And then we've got Dolphin down here, who is on the road in Sacramento. Did he freeze or he's just sitting really still? Oh, there we go. Hi, Dolphin. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
We're gonna start off with a really quick, we don't want to get into backstory yet, but a lovely, so people will know kind of what they can expect from you guys. So I'd love for you each to do a little, hello, this is what I offer to the relationship world. This is why it matters to me. And I'm going to bring you some juicy tips and tricks. So if you guys could each do one of those for our wonderful guests, and then we're going to get into some fun questions. So whoever wants to start, take it away. Or we can pick someone.
I'll go.
Go, Georgia.
Hi, I am Georgia Morley, also known as Somatic Counselor Georgia, and I am the other half of my beautiful partner in love, life, and legacy, Mr. Silver Storic over here. And we have been on the journey of relating for the last 4 years through all the thick and thin. We are truth tellers. That is our secret sauce. And so we talk about relationships in a way that is very authentic. And we navigate love from a place of truth, love, and transparency. We are currently creating a life. We are having a baby in March at 47 years young. Woo! Way to go, us.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And that's a whole new chapter of relationship. So I think Kristall's question of what we bring or what I bring to the folds of relating would be, I bring the dissolving of patterns in relational patterns, and some people call them triggers, activations, traumas. So that's what I bring to the table. Thanks so much. Lovely to be here. Lovely to see you all.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I'll follow on
Silver,
from my
yes.
beloved, and yeah, I'm just delighted to be here to share the radical truth of my coexistence and co-creation with my lover Georgia. I truly believe it's been like an arranged marriage of sorts by a higher power than both of us. We're a kind of unlikely couple, yet I feel we look and act exceptionally together. It's just like this perfect match that I couldn't have possibly chosen myself. And by that I mean there's just layer after layer of depth that Georgia and I are willing to go to together, and that is one of the keys that we'll jump into in this session today. What I'm going to offer is a few curveballs and a few bombs to shake things up, as I love to do when I share the radical truth, which I truly believe is our access to our authenticity and the depth of relationship that we truly desire.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Darling.
Me?
You go, Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean, I've been doing work in the realm of relating and relationship for over 20 years. It is my life. It's everyone's life, but it happens to be my life's work. And the two primary projects I have right now is one is called Relationflix. It's a education-based platform around relationships where we invite educators and live broadcasting and writers community and a whole bunch of other resources for people to level up their love and relational skills. And then the other one is my personal coaching work, which is very much about integrating what is unintegrated in our past, and through that enabling us to really come into the full potential of our relationships.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dolphin.
Beautiful.
Woohoo.
I love it. So now I would love to, if anyone of the guests wants to share a quick intro of who they are and what they're hoping to get out of this call. And if you have any questions, maybe just wait till we've gone through everyone and then we can start. We want to do a lot of Q&A to keep it fresh and to make it really valuable for the people on the call. So if you want to share, you don't have to.
Yeah, it
feel
just
free.
gives us a sense of whether you're single and looking for someone, whether you're in a relationship and looking for ideas or support or just general maintenance. And then that will give our speakers a little bit of guidance, as well as we're going to ask them some juicy questions too. So yeah, would anyone like to say hello and
I'm
share
happy.
what brought you here today?
Great.
I'm happy to jump in. And then what brought me here is I'm always interested to hear and learn more about relationships. I have great relationships in my life, none of which is a partner. So that's the relationship I'm still seeking, and always open to conversations around where I can make that connection and see how things happen. So,
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Anyone else going to jump in?
It's okay if you don't want to.
Okay,
okay,
I'm
please.
Carissa, and I just happened to see on Dolphin's Facebook feed that this was happening now, and I just checked like a half hour ago, and so I thought, oh, well, that's an awesome timing. Yeah, and so I am not currently dating anybody, but I'm in a place in my life where I feel like I am ready to be in like a high quality relationship. It just sometimes is difficult to find people, I guess, especially I'm living in Costa Rica right now, but I'm going to be, yeah, it's pretty awesome, but I'm going to be leaving soon to go live somewhere else for a bit, so I'm kind of a bit nomadic. Yeah, so I'm in an interesting place in my life, I guess you could say.
Lovely. Thank you for being here and thank you for sharing.
Beautiful. I think Georgia and Silver met in Bali, maybe.
Yeah,
That's right.
indeed.
Yeah. And Kristall and I have a fun story to share about how we met too.
Are we sharing that story online?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
because
well,
it's a certain kind
no,
of
that's
person
right.
who would do stuff like that. Yeah.
What are we talking about? Melanie or whoever is behind spacevillage.ca. Do you want to share? Oh, here we go.
Sure, I'll go ahead. It's
Hello.
Nadar, by the way. I'm sorry if my name is not showing. I should.
Nadar?
Yeah. So
Beautiful, welcome.
Gyro on Facebook, right? So
Yes.
yes. Let me just type my name here, and there we go.
Beautiful.
So yeah, of course, Shine Kelly, you both know me, and I've moved to BC a couple of years ago. Before I was living in Ontario, and a few years before that, I was in Egypt. And the life of an entrepreneur, you both know, it can get tricky to find the right person. Being time consuming. Oh yeah, the week just flies like this, and they're like, oh, I don't have time for a social life. So I'm in a place where I'm definitely looking, for an authentic relationship, and I'm planning to start, traveling more now that I've, things have opened up and one can travel again without any hassle. And it would be a good idea to escape the winter maybe next year and celebrate my birthday somewhere nice and warm.
Nice.
So I'm here to see if we can find that right person.
Lovely.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Welcome. Good to see him in video form, at least.
Yeah.
Not just Facebook text.
Yes.
Melanie, do you
know,
want
I've
to share?
been so busy with my app. That's why you see like all of my Zoom meetings are around my app or around grants and loans. So I had to now to change it to the social setting.
Exactly.
Yes,
There
yes.
you go. We'll bring you some social.
Yes.
Quick plug, if anyone is looking for grants and loans for their business, just connect with Nazar.
Yes, or an app for community building for events and
App.
such and workshops.
Apps
around
too,
the
yes.
world.
Oh, awesome. Allison's here. Allison or Melanie, do you want to have a quick share of why you're here and what you're looking for? Yes, Melanie.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm here because I always like to learn about how to relate to others. I find that it's not something that comes easy to me, like in friendships, acquaintances. I'm a solo traveler. I like that term. Someone had shared it with me a while back. I'm like, I like that term. I'm going to use it. And yeah, I'm actually quite content, with my status per se. But I'm always open to, if a man comes in my life, wonderful. But I just find that it's really hard for me to jibe with other people, and for me to have it's really important to have the friendship thing before to be like, oh, do I really like them? Yeah, and it's really hard for me to like jibe with someone and be like, oh, you're super awesome. Like, yeah, it's just I don't know if I'll ever get there, and I'm okay with it. So yeah, I just always like to learn more.
I love that. You're fun.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. That's sweet.
Allison, we're just getting a quick touch on what's bringing everyone here, if they're in a relationship or if they're looking for kind of the next steps to support them in finding that special person. So if you just want to share that, and then we're going to carry on.
Okay. I've been single for a long time, and I think the universe has wanted me to be that way for a while, just to sort of really focus on me and who I am and where I'm going. And so I feel that it's time to open up more and just be more connected in whatever way that looks like, through friends or connections or different circles. And I feel like the partner part will evolve from that, as long as I'm on my right space and right flow. And if the universe allows it, I think it's gonna just be great.
Yay.
I love it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
So good to hear from everyone.
So I'll give just a very brief, because I think we know most of you pretty well, but just Fran and I just celebrated our 7-year anniversary on Tuesday. Yay. So we made it 7 years, and I am no itch, as Shine pointed out. I'm really proud of 7 years in a working business plus romantic relationship. I feel like that, not to belittle any relationship where you're not working together, but for me personally, it has added a next level of accountability and showing up, because sometimes even when we don't like each other, we need to show up for the business. So it's definitely added a whole nother layer into our relationship, which I'm very proud that we're still in love with each other. And we come from very different relationship backgrounds. I was a serial monogamist. Shine is my 4th serious partner, and I almost did back-to-back since I was a teenager. So long-term relationship, long-term relationship, long-term relationship, and married, and I have 2 kids with my past partner. So that was kind of my background coming into our relationship, and Shine did a little bit more exploration and checking out the world in his relationships, and less long-term, big, long commitment relationships. So it was interesting for us to come together and kind of really marry our 2 ideas of relationship and our values and grow through that. So we're excited to be sharing some of that with you. And part of what really sparked this particular episode of the Unite show was we host a lot of community events and gatherings, and consistently we seem to have, we have a couple lovely couples like we have as our guest speakers here tonight, but a lot of our community are like some of you on the call who are really beautiful people but kind of haven't found that match yet. And so we're constantly getting sidebarred into these conversations about how do you do it and what do I need to do. And so yeah, we've definitely got a lot of ideas for how to support our community, and we felt like bringing in some more lovely experts, if you will, to share some ideas would be really helpful to our community. And we have also started a Unite singles group, so we're really committed to bringing more love into all of your lives. So that's what we're up to here. You want to add anything, Shine?
No, I'll share as we go. But yeah, if any of the participants here have a burning question or a soft question, anything that you're curious about, whether it's like how to find the right person or whatever, if you wanna ask that, and then different people can share. Nazar, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so how does this work? Because this is my first time attending something like this. Are you gonna put us in like separate rooms and we have like a 5-minute quick conversation, or should we just
Yes.
add each other on Facebook? I'm not sure how this works.
So we're going to start for the first little bit where we're going to pick the brains of our wonderful guest speakers. I know especially Georgia and Silver, I think they have to leave at 7:30, I believe, or so we want to make sure we use our time with them wisely. So we're going to start by, if you guys have any burning questions, how do I deal with this issue? How do I let go of that? What's your best advice for this? We're going to do some round robin where you're going to raise your hand, ask your question, and then they're going to take turns, or all of them will answer, preferably not at the same time. And then after that, we're going to go into a bit more social where you guys can chat and connect and actually start to kind of talk about what your single experience is with each other and how we can support you guys in moving through that in a more intimate way. I don't think there's enough people on here where we need to go in separate groups, separate branch out rooms. I think we can just work together and take turns speaking. So that's my thought. And yeah, we'd love to start. If you guys don't have any burning questions, we've definitely got some that I'd like to bring forward from the community. So
thank you.
Yeah. So if you do have a question, put your hand up either virtually with the little icon or just wave it around and we will call on you.
Nothing yet.
Okay.
Cool. So let's I think everyone on the call is single and looking or open for a relationship. So why don't we do a round robin of what the best tools are for sort of getting yourself ready to attract that relationship. And if Georgia, Silver, or Dolphin, if anyone wants to go, feel free.
Yeah, what would you say is kind of, I know a lot of times it's like you do your work, and I think our community is probably on the same page with that, but please, yeah, carry on with that. And what would you say is the best way they can line up for their next special somebody? Silver, I think you're going to take it away.
Yeah, I can certainly speak to that. And it's such a great topic because I come across so many men and women that are single and that literally talk themselves out of even dating. And I find that incredibly sad, to be honest. So really my thoughts on this are they talk themselves out of dating because they're looking for the one. And even if they enter into conversation with somebody, they're automatically going through this thought process in their head and eliminating them through certain preconceptions of how it's going to go if they actually go out on a date. So they talk themselves out of dating completely and then end up, in long periods of being single and alone, and then getting comfortable with that. And My challenge to you is to get out there and have some fun. Go on some dates and just have some fun with no preconceptions. And just have some fun. I mean, that's how Georgia and I met. We were not looking for love long-term at all at that time. And here we are in the most incredible adventure together that's that's been absolutely mind-blowing. So get out there, have some fun, date a few people, and you don't have to have sex with every person that you date. I really want that to sink in. There's so many levels of connection one can have, and explore all those levels of connection. It's not just like friendship and fucking. It's like everything in between. There's absolutely everything in between. So explore that is my encouragement to all of you.
Aw.
That's sweet.
That's really good advice. And I think that's really, I've seen that a lot, exactly what you started off by saying, that, so many people looking, but they actually talk themselves out of dating because they have all these ideas, whether it is, what you were saying, that, I need to find the one. I've been recently at some of our gatherings, we've been, a lot of people come in with, I'm looking for my next best person, but all men in North America are assholes. And I'm like, that might, or, all women are crazy and I'm looking for a woman. I'm like, and I know they're kind of venting and they know that they need to do a little work with that piece, but it really is a good place to start, is like, what is your idea about what dating is going to bring me to? If it's I'm doing it to find the one, that's a lot of pressure on every single date. Or if you're doing it kind of trying to find the only non-crazy woman or non-crazy man in North America, that's a lot of pressure. And you're going to be holding that checklist up, as every time they say anything, you're going, oh, evidence. So yeah, I'd say that's really, really good advice. Go in having fun, lower your expectations as much as you can, just to, enjoy each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
How about Dolphin and Georgia? What are your thoughts?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Go.
I mean, you mentioned it, Kristall. For us to like who we spend time with when we're alone is a really important aspect of what attracts someone. So, I think if there's a sense in us that being on our own is not okay, that's a challenging piece. And so there might be some work for us to do there around, like, I'm good with me, and then I move into life and I play, and then I move into life and I date, and then I move into life and I meet people. I think that's really, really important. A couple other things that I think are really important. There's a million, but I'll focus on two. Are you clear what relationship is about for you? It seems like a funny question, but when I work with couples that are struggling, one of the primary pieces that I'll ask right off the bat, and a lot of people I work with haven't really deeply explored, like, what is your relationship for? What is it in service to? What are you really about? What is your relationship a vehicle for in your life? And if you don't have a good worked out sense of that, you're kind of going to relationship blind. And we will often misuse relationship. Now, if you don't know those things and you're just going to meet people and you want to find out, that's cool. But if you really want a relationship, but you don't yet know what relationships are really about for you, then that there's a mismatch. So I would encourage people that are looking for a real partnership, you need to be able to know within yourself and be able to articulate to another what relationships really mean to you, what they're about, what they're in service to. I think that goes a long way to being able to have meaningful conversations with people, to get a sense, hey, are we on the same page? Is this a relationship to pursue? So that's a really powerful piece. The other one, where are the people that I would want to date or want to be with spending their time? I've actually spoken with lots of people who are complaining about not finding people where the kind of person they want to be isn't hanging. So, you know, some growth. How do we find out where the people that we're attracted to want to be with?
I'm just gonna jump in for a sec. Is Dolphin
Yeah.
breaking up for everyone else, or is it just
Yeah.
me?
I know it
The
is.
Dolphin,
last 10 seconds or so, we lost you.
yeah, if you could
Okay.
maybe take your camera off because you are
Yeah.
breaking up.
Turn the camera off.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using Starlink, which I thought would be sort of like the solution to all of my internet issues. But, it appears not to be. How's my audio right now?
It's a little bit better.
A little bit better. I'll try to talk slower. Yeah, really what I'm speaking to is, do we have a sense of where the kinds of people we want to be with spend their time? And to take a little bit of time to figure that. What kind of communities are they a part of? What activities do they do? If we're in places where the people we want to be with are not hanging out, of course we're not going to find matches for ourselves. So those pieces are simple, but actually really important.
Beautiful. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, a lot of common sense. I know a lot of women and they're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm looking for guys, I can't find anyone. And then they're like, all the guys at the clubs and the bars are just jerks. And I'm kind of like, how much can you really, get to know someone when it's loud and you're yelling at each other? And if you're actually looking for a relationship, that might not be the best environment to really get to know someone and to connect. So yeah, good point. Find out where they go.
So Georgia, do you have anything to add to the how to find your sweetie conversation? And then I see your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just quickly stack on both a couple of things Silver and Dolphin said. And, first and foremost, I think the exploration of relationship is really a beautiful place to start, as Silver was sharing. And if you don't know, like in a business, we sometimes do value, vision, mission, vision, values. And in order to have a mission, vision, value system for relating, you need to explore and you need to connect to others without any pretense of judgment or, like Silver was saying, any end goal. And really what you're doing is in that process, you're learning about yourself. And you're learning about what your needs and desires are. And you aren't polarizing your energy in the direction of one person. You're really being discerning and practicing this level of discernment. And then I love what Dolphin was saying about choose your next adventure. Like, come on, screw dating apps, right, Carissa? It's not working for you. Oh, let's move. Choose your next adventure, and in every part of your life, start to infuse that sense of personal adventure. Go to the coffee shop. I have a wonderful meditation I do with the women I work with called "Who's That Woman?" And it's basically just like getting you ready to walk into any environment and feel the energy of what you desire from life, like making love to life first and foremost. And that doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have like the eternal perfect self-love model in order to get into a relationship that you desire. And self-acceptance is a big piece of it. So like get into life, get into adventure, show up in spaces where people are like, who's that woman? Or who's that guy? Right? And it's about this inner resonance that you are emitting, and the people that you want in your life will come. They will arrive. So what's your next adventure? Where are you going? What are you going to explore? That's me.
I love it.
Beautiful, Georgia. That's so good.
That's great.
I really like the idea of thinking about it. I think a lot of our people in our community are in some kind of business, some kind of entrepreneur. And as entrepreneurs, we often do a lot of case tests, like asking our customers, what do they need? We're finding out, how does our product work? Do they like it? Do they like our service? We're researching. We're checking things out. And I feel like one of the things that I think a lot of us miss when we're starting out or looking for a relationship is we're kind of looking for that like fall in love, sparks, energy moment, and forgetting that, we're stepping into someone else's world. We've got ideas, they've got ideas. And to kind of, I love that idea of like looking at it like, it's an adventure. It's like, I'm getting information, I'm doing reconnaissance, I'm checking stuff out. How am I showing up in the world? How are they showing up in the world? And kind of relaxing a little bit of that, like fall in love. And it has to be this idea that maybe you've never even experienced, or you've only seen it in a movie or online, and really, letting it be like fun and research and exploring. And
Yeah. When Kristall and I met, I had been dating women and not really feeling what I wanted out of a relationship. And so I just said, you know what, I'm attracting women that are not what I want right now. So I'm just going to stop. Like I could just tell that something was off by who I was attracting. And then for Kristall, she had just gotten out of a relationship and gotten dumped, and she was feeling kind of low. And both of us at the same time, around the same time, sort of said, we're gonna live our best life. We're gonna make ourselves a 10 out of 10. We're gonna be as happy as possible on our own and not date. And now we both sort of decided, no, like, forget this, we're done for a minute, we're just going to focus on ourselves. And that was right around the time I met Michelle, and I was working with this lovely human, William, and running events. And it was this entrepreneurial fun excitement, and I just got into this flow, and I was just feeling amazing and not dating at all. And Kristall was just got back from a retreat and was in her zone and really working on herself. And I think it was like 3 days after she said, it was
4 days.
4 days after, she was like, okay, I'm going to take a whole year off.
No
dating, blah, blah, blah.
Actually, no, I was committed to being casual because I had never done casual dating. And I'm like, let's try casual. Clearly I'm missing something. I like threw everything into all my relationships. I was like, they were my everything, and that made it painful when they ended. And who am I without it? So I was like, I think I should just do what these other people do and just be casual. And I was very committed to casual, and it lasted 4 days until I met Shine. So I failed that one. But I think the piece, were you done, Sweetie?
Well, so the way that you hear about like women who get pregnant after they've been told they're infertile right after they adopt, it's like once the edge goes away of whatever, you really, really want this baby and it's not coming and all your focus is there. And then when you get a baby, you adopt a baby, it's like all the resistance goes away and then you can get pregnant. And I feel like there's a part of that in society, we've built up all this thing. And even the way that we were sort of talking about earlier, it's like, getting through, it's like, what, there's nothing wrong. Like it's not a bad place to be. It's fine. It's part of life. Right. And so I think just understanding that for me anyways, it's a energetic dynamic. And the way that Silver said that he couldn't have planned, and that it was it felt like it was some sort of otherworldly connection that brought them together, because it's too perfect. Like there's too many pieces, and it's just crazy. And I feel the same way with me and Kristall, like the overlaps are just crazy. And so I think there is a really important energetic piece to it for me of being a vibrational match to the person that you're wanting to attract. And for us, that meant both of us getting into that state on our own and just feeling really excited and empowered. And I think because there's so much ideas and people have so many bugaboos about love and relationships, the fact that we were saying no to it and actively not looking for it sort of released the resistance. And for Kristall, she was like, casual. And I guess I was in an open enough place to, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that's the piece I wanted to tack on to that, is we weren't saying no to relationships because we had any bad feeling about them. And that's the difference. And I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I can't date this type of person or that type or in this country, or they've got ideas which are they're putting walls up. And I was really I'm not going to look for a relationship. Not like I'm not ever going to have one, just I'm not going to be seeking one, because that had been my old pattern when I was alone, was to seek a relationship. And this was, I'm not going to seek one, but what I was really amping up was I wanted community, and I wanted to be around people, and I wanted to connect with people, and I wanted to collaborate, and I wanted to be around other people. Like Dolphin was saying, like to put yourself around people that are like what you want, like what you want to be, like the kind of people you want to be around. And I was really realizing a lot of the people I had been around were heavier. They were in a little bit of a struggle. They were in a bit of a fight. And I was like, I really want to be around people who are like excited about the future and changing the world and doing good things for the world and humanity. And I just want to be juiced up being around those people. I don't need to be dating them. I don't need to be having sex with them. I just want to be surround myself with these type of people. And that's why when I was introduced to Shine and then met him more a few months later, it was really, he was 100% exactly who I wanted to be around. He was excited about humanity, loved connecting people. There was always a swarm of amazing people around him. I'm like, great, this is exactly what I'm looking for in my life right now. So he was actually a perfect match for me energetically, what I was putting out. And the same for him. He was looking for collaborators, co-creators, people to play with, people to jam with, people to build with. So the romantic thing was something that wasn't in our conscious forefront, but because it wasn't there, it actually allowed us to connect. And I really believe if I had been looking for a relationship, I definitely would have not chosen Shine in that moment, because my idea of what I needed was based on my first relationship was like this, so I can't have that. And my next relationship was like this, so I've got to cut out this and this because that's where that came from. And on my third relationship, super fun, but no future, no plan. Okay, so I can't have anyone like, so now my window of what was acceptable for me in a romantic partner was quite small, and Shine did not fit many of my boxes for a very long time. I was determined. We are casual. He was the best I could do for casual. We're casual. I'm just dating him because he really didn't match a lot of my boxes. And the same, I had 2 kids when we met. I still have 2 kids. They haven't gone anywhere, but they were much younger. My baby was 2.5, I think, and I just stopped breastfeeding, and I had a 5-year-old toddler. And so I was a package deal. I came with babies, and Shine was really determined to do business. He was very focused on business. He had spent a lot of time in his past working with kids and working with people with disabilities and special needs, and had put a lot of that energy. And he's like, I don't want to be like taking care of kids. Like, that's not on my agenda. But we both kept like, okay, this part feels really good. Let's just soften the edges around these pieces that, oh, he leaves his socks on the floor, I can't be with him, which was a real thing that I thought a few times at the beginning of our relationship. So I feel like really that we were committed to actually not being committed to each other helped us move through that early phase where we write each other off. And that's what Silver was talking about, not kind of writing people off right away. So yeah.
So we have Georgia and Silver only for another half hour or so. So I want them to, if anyone has a specific question for Georgia and Silver, or if they have anything to share. Nazar, you have your hand raised?
Yeah.
Nazar, sorry.
Yes, I wanted to share something, to address Carissa's, she said something very interesting. What filters do you use? What kind of filters should be using when you're getting to know someone? I used to have these filters all the time. When I was younger, I had this list, and if she didn't match my box, then she's out. And then as I evolved, it became more about having matched life goals. They don't have to be identical, but at least the foundation of having the life goals. And then I realized there was one thing that was even more important after, dating based on, matching life goals. I found out that none of this matters. There's only one thing that matters, in my opinion. And that is, that both of us should be open to self-growth and doing the self-development work and all this stuff, because if that foundation doesn't exist, like self-growth and self-development, then the relationship will not be able to evolve. So whether you take it from a spiritual level or just from like a human behavior pattern or psychological level, whatever you want to label it, what matters is being open to that kind of development, because this is how any relationship can grow. And like you both said, you both had lots of boxes, you didn't fit with each other, and it didn't matter because you had that organic chemistry and things evolved with time. Because if we let go of attachments, just like Georgia said, let go of attachment. When we let go of attachment, of certain expectations, then we really get to discover what this person's about. Like when think of how, for example, both Americas were discovered. Nobody said, "Oh, I hope America's gonna look like that." They just went on an adventure. They took their boat. They got the right people, the right crew, and they were just having that adventure. Of course, there was also the entrepreneurial side of how to navigate a boat and all that, and using maps and everything. So there was a mix of pleasure and adventure at the same time, mixed with professionalism. I think this is what would describe your relationship. You both discovered Americas into each other, right? So.
I love it.
Exactly. That might be a really good, if no one has a specific question, that might be a really good next step that especially Georgia and Silver could address, would be once you've kind of maybe met someone that you're interested in, without getting in our way of starting to measure them with criteria, how do you kind of make sure that you're I think a lot of people feel like, I don't want to invest too much time if this isn't going to go somewhere, and so make sure that those values kind of line up. Do you have some ideas for those next steps?
Yes, I do. And yeah, for everyone that's single that's listening, I just want to stack on what you mentioned, Kristall. Georgia and I didn't tick many of each other's boxes either at the beginning, and yeah, we really grew to love each other, and that was because of a couple of key elements, and one of those was truth, radical truth. We were willing to speak our truth. We were willing to ask really good questions instead of having all these unanswered questions in our minds and then answering them ourselves without actually asking the person that we're with. I've got this feeling that this is going on. Is it actually happening? Or where do you want this to go? How deep do you want this relationship to be? What is going on in your life right now? Are you seeing anybody else? Just call it out, whatever is in your mind. Be brave enough and courageous enough to name it, because then it's not niggling away at your brain and talking yourself out of what could be an incredible relationship. So that's the first tip I would give. And the second one is willingness. I mean, that's what Georgia's had in abundance, the willingness to go deeper. And that is a key element to the longevity of any relationship. And if you're looking for harmony, the only way you're going to find any form of harmony in a relationship is to accept that it's not going to be harmonious. And that reminds me of an incredible quote from Dr. John DeMartini, and he says, "I gave up trying to be happy because it was making me sad." If we're constantly looking for everything to be perfect, everything to be like it was in that honeymoon period, if we're constantly looking to be happy and passionate and sexy, we're going to be disappointed, because that's not how relationships are. I mean, Georgia and I have discovered an incredible depth of intimacy, even through those periods when we've not been making love. We've deepened our intimacy in so many other ways. So I don't know if you want to stack on that, Onee, but over to you.
Thanks, lover. That's the truth. That is the radical truth. And to stack on what Silver's saying around radical truth, and this is a really, really important one. So often you'll hear things that might not feel good and might not feel right for you in that moment. And it's likely that that could be something to do with something that has occurred in your life, in your past, maybe in the formative years at some point. I'll give you an example. So Silver right out the gate said to me, I don't want a relationship. Now, I was really happy being single and being who's that woman. I was having a great time. So I wasn't actually looking for a relationship. But to hear a man say those words activated something inside me that I had two choices. And so when you're in a space of dating and you're meeting people and you're connecting and you're practicing radical truth, objectively having a boundary, an energetic boundary, so that when I heard those words, I could see them, feel them as his truth. And it wasn't a reflection of me. And so I thanked him for his truth. And I went on with my life. And then he showed up again. And then he, said, and what are you looking for? And I was like, well, I'm definitely not looking for a sexual relationship. And it kind of just went on from there. And so being able to own your own stuff in the middle of some of these harder truths as you're getting to know someone is really important, because if we're constantly triggered or activated, if our nervous system is activated by another person's truth, we aren't going to get to know them. We aren't going to get to know them. If I eliminated Silver and was like, well, then you don't want a relationship, see ya, just because of the way I received it, even though I didn't want a relationship, who can relate to that? I don't want a relationship, but I received that in a way that was like, oh, jarring. If I had allowed that or not worked with it in my own nervous system, we might not be here today. So it's really important to edge that in relating dynamics, especially when you're getting to know someone.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love this. Does anyone have any questions for Georgia and Silver while we have them? They're kind of a big deal. This is like prime time, like free coaching. Get on it, people.
Go, Michelle.
I have a question that actually just came to mind for me. So I've had intimate partners at different stages of my life that are not relationship partners. They're friendship type partnership. Mm-hmm. And I've had people say to me, that's stopping you from actually finding someone. And I don't feel it is, because to me, I've separated the two. Any thoughts on that?
Great question.
Yeah, Michelle.
That's what people think.
Watch for rhetoric that isn't your own personal belief. Okay. Just push it aside, because your sexuality and what you're exploring in your life is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it has absolutely no reflection on the person you're meant to partner with, the being that is to be your partner. In fact, it only encourages that in an even more authentic way. So that's my personal perspective. You might.
And I love that, because I'll say to that, Georgia, for me, what it does is it removes the sexual aspect of meeting someone new, right? Because a lot of people, that's the thing that's on their mind. Oh, I want somebody to have sex with. When you take that off the table, I'm approaching the person as the person. Sex has nothing to do with it.
Well, that's kind of great. That works out real well then, doesn't it? Yeah, I think so. And this really speaks to choosing your belief system, your values, what's right for you. There is so much information on the internets. Like you could just be bombarded with people's opinions and ideas. And so really choosing what feels right for you is really key. So I appreciate that share a lot.
Mhm. You have anything
I
to
think
add?
stacking on that, Michelle, relationships are all about connection. And as I said earlier, there's the connection, it has a vast, vast scale to explore and to play with. And just before I met Georgia, I was really exploring every aspect of that I could. And there was some women that I was with where I'd just walk around the house naked, we'd both do that. We'd just have everything hang out, we'd be naked, and we'd end up dancing naked in the bathroom while we were brushing our teeth, just giggling like teenagers that were high, or having a bath with somebody else, and just being fully present in the beauty and the delight and the intimacy of that, without it needing to be anything other than that. It didn't need to go any further. And that's the beauty of radical honesty as well, and radical truth, is just being able to be fully present in that experience.
So good.
I love that. I just want to add a little bit of, I love Abraham Hicks, and what they talk about is that, like, the universe sort of knows what you want, and the way that you line up with those synchronicities that you couldn't have planned, that are just seem amazing, is just following that little breadcrumb trail of, like, does this feel better? Does this feel good? Is this, and not from like a bad place of like, oh, like I need a fix and I'm feeling terrible and I need something. It's like, no, I'm feeling good, and ooh, this feels fun. Ooh, that's interesting. And whether you might understand it or not, like, that's the path towards what you want. And so as long as it's feeling, and I can tell from your face when you ask the question, it's like, yeah, it's fun. It feels great. So it's like, perfect. That's I think that's the only thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, you're putting yourself in the vibration of what part of what you want. So just because you're also open to a relationship that has other components, I really, law of attraction doesn't agree that you can't. It would be the same as saying, like, don't bother working your job, because then you can't win the lottery because you're canceling one without the other. So I think it really is. I mean, obviously, as long as you're checking in and it's still feeling super fun and valuable and useful, more is more is more. So
Yeah, love that.
yay.
You go, girl.
Communication is key as well. I'll say that.
Yes,
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. And
so good.
anyone else have a juicy question for Georgia and Silver? They've got 20 more minutes.
Oh, Allison,
yeah.
hop on in.
I tend to have a really busy life, busy work and busy family, and a lot going on, maybe even a little more than the average person. I enjoy meeting people and I have a good time, but I have a hard time not compartmentalizing my life into different sections and being a little more open. And I'd like to learn how to be a little more open that way, I think. I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, if you could just sort of, drop into that a little bit more and just share with me a little bit about what you mean by, like, to be more open. So what I heard you say was you have a full life, you have a busy life, and you tend to compartmentalize. And so you would like to create more space for openness, or maybe you could.
I think so. And relationships of whatever that looks like. I have a family life where part of my family doesn't really like socializing, because I'm a mom of 2 boys, and they don't like the extra parts. So I find it hard to keep the balance. And although I'm open and willing, and I think in some ways they are too, I find it difficult to put into place in reality because I have about this much time left in the week.
Yeah, I hear that. And often these domestic roles, motherhood is a role, is a beautiful role, it's a wonderful role, and it does tend to take precedent over our opportunities to connect with others. And I really hear that and feel that. And so what you're asking is like, how do I do this? And it might be something as simple as, really acknowledging, it might be a piece of you that needs to check in with self, like, how much do I gift myself? How much am I willing to receive? Can my boys, I don't know how old they are, but, can someone once a week take them? Can I make time? And why am I not making time? Get curious with yourself. Can my boys, I don't know how old they are again.
They're teens. They can.
They're teens.
But they have some stuff that, yeah.
They have some stuff.
Yeah.
Like they have like things that they don't want you to go out, or
yeah, they have some stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Got it. Okay. So I guess it's really about giving yourself the gift of that openness and creating space for yourself, permission to embark on that, and to cut that. We moms, we have a codependent tie, we really do. And that tie, as beautiful as it is, sometimes it needs to be relinquished a little bit to make space for ourselves. And everybody thrives. Everybody ultimately thrives when mom has more space for herself, believe it or not. So that would be my feedback on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Firstly, I just want to acknowledge you, Alison, because when you came on, you really mentioned that you consciously took time to discover who you are and to work on your own authenticity. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful stepping stone for, transitioning to being open to meeting somebody, being open to love, being open to receive. And I want to share this with everybody. That's such a vital part of being able to meet someone, is being open to receive. So I encourage every one of you to ask yourselves, am I open to receive? And listen and see what's there. See what's there, because you may discover that there is something that's like, well, it's like holding on to you and keeping you closed. So am I truly open to receive? Just asking yourself that question numerous times, and listening without judgment as to what comes up. And just by listening to the answers that inevitably appear, that can open you up. That can dissolve that shield or that barrier that was there, that was there from a previous experience. And just really getting that you are a different person now to the person that had that previous experience that perhaps made you guarded or put the shield up.
Right.
And it's okay to let that shield down and be open to receive.
Oh,
I love that.
so good.
There's a really lovely Abraham quote. I speak in Abraham parables. There's a lovely Abraham clip of a woman who's talking about their family dog, and the dad was like, no dog, like absolutely not. And one of the kids was like, I don't know, I don't really want a dog, I want to take care of it. One of the kids really wanted a dog, and she was kind of indifferent. And they sort of found this dog that was so perfect for all of them that they all just fell in love with it. And if they would have kind of tried to like make a collective decision, whatever their ideas about the dog were at odds. But when one of them got into alignment with the dog and just focused purely on what they wanted and why they wanted it, they attracted a dog that matched everyone's desires. And so that came up for me with your boys, is like, you don't really have to pay attention to what they're saying from probably a triggered place. You can like ignore that as much as you can and just focus on what you want. And what Georgia said, I love, is like when you really focus on what you want and fill yourself up, everybody wins, because you're more available to them, you have more love to give, you're filled up. It's like and they will see that, even if they can't maybe put their head around it right now.
Yeah, in truth, I know it's about me. I know it's mine.
No.
And I think one final piece on this too, especially as a busy person, busy mom myself, I know it can feel like I can't even, carve out the time for like my bath or workout or like the thing, how can I carve out the time to date or to add a new person into my life? And what I try and do when I feel like I don't have time for something that I want to do is I try and just pre-pave it. Pre-paving is something Abraham Hicks talks a lot about, or I step it forward in my mind. I imagine it moving forward, even if I can't move forward with it, because then energetically, even if you go on no date, your children don't change their opinion. Like you have no physical things are changing, but you can date in your mind. You can show up, you can imagine it, you can, it's so juicy and so fun and so exciting and just that feeling, and everyone's going to feel so good. And like Shine said, like the person's going to come in and they're without attachment, getting too attached to how it's going to look, but everyone's going to feel the benefit of this. I'm going to feel in fact, I'm going to feel like I have more time in my life, not less time. How is that even, I don't even know how that's possible. Like just juicing yourself, lining up yourself. And Abraham does this, like put $100 in your wallet, and if you're feeling scarce about money, and when you go shopping, instead of like I can't afford that and I can't afford that, be like, I could buy that, but I'm not gonna. I could buy that, but I'm not gonna. So I do that. We did that when we were lining up with this house. We went shopping for houses, and we're like, they weren't even available. We'd drive down the street and be like, I like that one. I like that one. Ooh, it'd be fun to live here. Ooh, it'd be fun to live here. And so even you're not taking time out of your regular life. You're not dating, but you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, that's a nice one. Oh, that's a nice one. Go shopping. Imagine what it would be like with them. Imagine what their life could be like. Imagine what it could, like you're stepping, instead of going, he's beautiful. I don't have time to date him. He's lovely, but I couldn't date him. My kids would hate, like if that's the message, try like I could, I'm not gonna today, I'm not gonna talk to him, it's okay, but I could, and stepping it forward. And then when the guy does show up, you're going to be so much further along your path of it being fun and easy and exciting because you've done that work already.
Cool. Thank you.
Yay. And before we run out of, sorry, go.
I was just going to quickly add, if you don't mind, to that for Allison, for what I do with clients who are really busy, is start to book some time in your calendar for you, and start like with 2 hours, start with a movie night, then go to a day. And then you can go to like a date. It's sort of like date night, date time with yourself, booking it in your calendar and keeping and doing something for you in that time. Because then when you have someone you want to date, you will have time in your calendar. Nice. And you've got to make it and keep it and not move it and not like, no, I won't do that. Make sure it's time for you.
Nice. Good one. I want to make sure before we lose Georgia and Silver, we're not losing them. They just have given us this much of their time, and then they've got other people that need them in their lives. I'd really love for you to share. I actually don't know, because we've had other conversations, but is there, are you guys doing workshops right now? Are you doing couples coaching? Because everybody who's tuned in, I'm sure is going to be like, these guys are amazing. I want more Georgia and Silver. And we are not going to host them every week. So you're going to have to find other ways to connect with them. So do you have workshops coming up? Do you have events? What are ways that people can connect with you and get more of the Georgia and Silver love? And do you guys do stuff together and separate? And yeah, take it away.
Thanks, Kristall. Thank you, Kristall. Yes, of course, we actually took a bit of a hiatus from our business together in order to follow our own internal desires around what we wanted to bring forth in the world for this last year. I'd say that that's a highly recommended relational tool, is to follow the path of independence and sovereignty within your relationship. So I am currently working globally with women. I am a somatic therapeutic counselor. So a lot of the work I do is about integrating intergenerational trauma, formative years trauma, and really creating a more peaceful, easeful, authentic, and pleasurable life for women. And we also work together doing couples mentorship. We do have an 8-week program. So we work with couples, mostly with couples who are deeply triggered and activated in their relating experience of each other. As we all know, we come together often and we mirror these great, wonderful things. These wonderful things. We mirror these nervous system responses. And so we really support couples to come through those, and we can be reached through Facebook in all capacities. Silver Honey, do you want to share a little bit about what you're up to these days, uniting all the good in the world?
Thank you, Lover. Yes, I'm really focused on creating strategic partnerships to unite all the good in the world. I have taken a short break from coaching, from our Love Life Legacy program that Georgia and I were running together. However, we are still taking on the odd client if it's a good fit. So feel free to reach out to us about that. I'm also cooking up an exceptional men's program as well for all the men who feel like they have a higher purpose within them, to help them find that mission that's bigger than themselves. So that's really what I'm focusing on at the moment. And I know you wanted some tools as well. So Georgia mentioned one of them, which is independence, really focusing on your individual aspirations and not getting too entangled in those together, having different interests. I mean, I'm living 5 days apart from Georgia at the moment, which has been wonderful and fruitful as far as giving us some space to just breathe and really come back home to who we are as individuals, so that, you know, when it does come to the weekend, we're absolutely yearning to be together. So that's also a good tip. And one thing that's really supported us, because we're a power couple, we're very powerful leaders in our own right. We're both creators, we're both Virgos, we're very similar. We have strong traits. And one thing that has really supported us as a couple is to take turns in leading. And Georgia's been a big advocate of this. She really led this and encouraged this into our relationship. And I have to admit, it's only recently that I have really been able to fully 100% let Georgia lead on certain things. I realized that I had this element of needing to watch over or control how everything was done. And I just recently relinquished that, you know, when Georgia was letting out our basement suite, for example. It's like, I don't need to be involved in this at all. You know, why am I micromanaging? And just being able to do that in a relationship and lead in different sectors of life is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, we call it leading and leaning. So, and it's very consciously chosen. You know, you can feel the energetic swing, the pendulum swings. Okay, I'm going to lean. Okay, I'm going to lead. Okay, I'm going to lean. Okay, yeah, you lead. So it's it's a really beautiful, pendulum, the way it swings naturally, quite naturally, but also consciously.
And it prevents a lot of confrontation as well, a lot of arguments, a lot of discourse.
Wow. You guys are so inspiring.
I love it.
Like, I want to be Georgia and Silver when I grow up.
Three more
Can I ask
minutes.
a question
Anyone has
related to
a
that?
last question. Yeah, please.
I don't know, I feel like I want to hear from Dolphin again.
Yeah.
We can, I just feel like it'd be nice
We'll
to
need
hear.
we'll need to have
Yeah.
another jam with him.
Mhm.
Got more internet. Michelle, jump in.
Just a question related to that, leaning and leading. So when one is leading, do you confer with the other at all, or do you just let them do the
I
thing?
think, so I am very alpha. And so being more omega is somewhere I really enjoy. And when I was living abroad in Bali, I was way more in that omega space. It's an energy, the energy is so different. And I find this role of motherhood and homemaking and running a business, and motherhood's very, very alpha, by the way. It's not a particularly omega role. So you're in this, so being in Canada and being in the Western life, I'm much more activated in that alpha role. And so in our relating dynamic, I watch for that hyper aroused state and I just tone it and dial it back because I can relax. Like, it's nice for me to be able to relax. I'm sick and tired of running the show. And so it's been about safety, creating safety where I trust him to take the helm. We're still working on it. I mean, it's a work in progress, Michelle, but it is a constant conversation. And then there are some days where it's very effortless. Like, it seems very obvious. He's going to do all the alphaing and I'm going to do the omegaing, and vice versa, or vice versa. Yeah.
And sometimes with renting the basement suite, for example, you just need like a 5-minute adult conversation. What are we achieving here? What are the numbers we're working with? Okay, great, let's go.
Moving on. And 5-minute adult conversations are one of the biggest relationship techniques we can also give you. Nice. You don't need to have these long, drawn out blah blah blahs. Just, can we have a 5-minute adult conversation? Great. You even set the timer on your phone.
Love it. It's like detail, factual. We don't need the feeling and the history right now. This is not space holding. This is like, love it. Oh, I think we're going to take that one on.
Yeah, it's great. Or you just kind of get into all the stuff, and it's just, it gets a bit dull, and you get a bit into these very domestic roles, which are really boring. Like that, you want to take the fun out of your life, start managing a house and cleaning toilets together. I love all these young people who are like, I can't quit, let's move in together. I'm like, why? Like, you can clean toilets together another day. Like,
exactly. You can do it on vacation when it's fun for you. It doesn't have to
be. What's the rush? Dolphin, I would love to hear you speak. Come on and speak.
Yeah, share a moment, Dolphin, before we lose. Well, and Georgia and Silver, you can tune in and watch the replay and catch, because we're hopefully getting a few more minutes of Dolphin as well here. But we do want to honor your time, so if you need to pop off, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed being here with you today, and thank you, Shine. Thank you, Kristall. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both so much, and thank you to everyone that's shown up today. It's a while since Georgia and I have done a podcast together, and it's really got those juices flowing, and really a great affirmation to the work that we're constantly committed to in supporting others, as well as deepening our own relationship. So this evening has been an affirmation of that. So I really encourage you all to live fully and love fully.
Aww, so good.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dolphin, were you going to chime in here and share your I know we didn't kind of get to go back and forth with you, but please feel free to take a little, you can address all the points or just your general overview as well. Because yeah, I know you have so much value to offer, and I love your perspective on relationships as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out and wait for it for a few minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
that'd
it.
be great.
Then we'll go.
You're so
Yeah, I mean-
so valued, Dolphin. They're not even going to leave.
Get some dolphin.
Give it to us, Dolphin.
I've enjoyed listening. I mean, just lots of beauty in what's being shared. I just appreciate when other people have really done the deep dives and worked with pieces and worked with people and bring back the insights of how relating really works. So mostly I've just been enjoying. I've been working on my router situation, but also obviously very much in the call. I don't know if
Your
I'm
sound is much better, by the way. So
Yeah,
we can hear you
I'm just-
perfectly. now.
I'm just running off of my cell signal right now, and that seems to be better than the Starlink. So here we are. You know, I don't know that I have anything particular to add. You know, the people in the room that are looking for love, I think one thing that I like to include, which is just the practicalities. You know, we all bring in things that we're attracted to. And so I think that's worth us exploring within ourselves. Like, what am I attracted to? Some of what we're attracted to is innate. Some of what we're attracted to is like really good and representative of what will draw us towards a good partner. And it's good for us to recognize that in this modern human culture, some of what we've grown to be attracted to is actually not good. And so, you know, for us to do some deep investigation and some listening and some learning about how I would describe it as integrated attraction. If my attraction is integrated, it means the things that I'm drawn to are naturally aligned and good for me and inviting of my full potential and the relationship's full potential. The less integrated my attraction is, the more I'm going to have old unresolved relational pieces that are kind of informing who and what and where I'm attracted to. And so that piece around understanding that aspect of ourselves and how we're drawn to relationship, and then also including how others are drawn to us, so that people might be attracted to us, and that could be coming from a really good, healthy place, but they also might be carrying their own unintegrated attractions. And I like this lens because it's a little bit like playing in the sandbox. You know, we all have a sandbox. We're walking by, checking each other out, and sandboxes look good or not good to us. And that's worth including in the whole process of meeting one another, getting a sense of how we relate, of what we're looking for, of what we want to create together. And as we go, I loved what was said earlier, which is so simple but so obvious, is like, if the way that we're operating allows us to more and more know ourselves, to more and more know what we love and what we want and what we value, then that's going to be a way in which we live that over time, relationships will naturally get better and better. Our discernment about compatibility and alignment will naturally get better and better over time. So any idea we have of like getting it right or finding the one, I think it's worth throwing that out the window, and get good at play, get good at discovery, get good at listening, get good at asking questions. And most of all, and I think this is where you know, Georgia Silver and I really line up, is like, get good at speaking the truth and hearing the truth, because in that we have something really trustworthy to build our relationships on.
So good.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
That's
Well
really-
said.
Yeah, I love
Oh.
it.
I'm glad
So
we stayed.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for creating a vortex, the three of you and the two of us, so the five of us, creating a vortex, I feel like, of possibility too, because of course you have lovely tips and tricks, but I know we didn't touch on this, but Dolphin is also in a wonderful relationship with his sweetheart, and he has a not so little baby anymore. They stayed with us a little bit. I must have been like, what, 2 years ago when he was a baby, and now he's not anymore, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so Dolphin is also in a wonderful, supportive, committed relationship. And I feel like sometimes even one of the deterrents for dating can be like, is it even possible? Does it even exist? I've just had crappy relationships. My parents had a crappy relationship. Everyone I know is in a crappy relationship. And I feel like what we've created here, which is really fun, is a little vortex of possibility, and that all of us we're not in these relationships, we haven't been in these relationships for 100 years. It's been different amounts of time, but it's not even been most of our adult life in these current relationships, and that it really is a possibility to find your person, to line up, to connect. And there is some things you can do in between until you get there. But yeah, it's a lot of just kind of believing, putting yourself around people that are doing it, that are happy, that are in relationship, that have good values around it, and checking not only because we're feeding ourselves our own information, but checking, what are you exposing yourself to? Are you exposing yourself to a lot of TV shows and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of people that have a lot of challenges? Because if that's not the reality you want in relationship, then put yourself around awesome people who are doing what you're hoping to kind of aspire to be. So thanks, guys. I feel like we did that tonight. Woohoo!
Absolutely. It's been so much fun. Thank you all.
It's fun.
See you next time.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
jam
you
again
so
soon.
much, guys, for
Bye,
taking
Georgia
the
and
time.
Silver.
All the best.
Bye.
Aw,
Yeah.
so good.
It's funny, the idea of like a relationship being this thing that you're moving towards. Oh, hello, Deanna. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. We're just transitioning from two of the speakers just left, and we're all just jamming a little bit. And there's this idea of like relationships being this thing that you're moving towards, and it's this big goal and this dream and this thing. And to me, it's kind of like starting a business where it feels really fun and sexy to think about it, but actually doing it, it's like it's a thing. And especially depends on the relationship. I think there can be really easy ones and more challenging. But I know for me, a lot of this relationship and having a business together has been like, okay, like here's your shit about this. Here's your shit about this. Like here's what you haven't healed about this. Like it's just hard a lot, and it's intense, and it's like in your face and crazy. And so it's not like, it definitely is not like, oh, like this is just easy and fun only.
Yeah.
Like it's lovely and amazing and worth it. And it's a lot. Like it's been challenging and work but fun in the way that starting a business is, because it feels like we're building something. It feels like I'm growing and getting better, and I can see the progression, and we've really evolved and moved through different phases. And so it's fun. But yeah, definitely I don't have any negative things about like just being playful or being single or whatever, because it's like it's anywhere on the spectrum. Like we're all in relationships with the world and with each other no matter what, but any spectrum of like intimate relationships or friendship relationships, I think, are so valuable, and it's so okay wherever you are on that spectrum. Like it doesn't have to be a full-on thing where you're living together and doing the whole thing, because
Cleaning each other's toilets.
yeah it's because it's like, it feels like it's starting a business. It's a project. And one of the things that's been really interesting with Kristall and I, that my relationship before Kristall, and I've heard a few people talk about this, where like they have three main relationships. The first one is the first love. It's this big thing. The second one is a mirror that's like your exact, like you're dating yourself, and it brings up all this stuff, and it's super intense, and it's very fiery and passionate, but also kind of dysfunctional, and you both really like the same things. So it's like, as a partnership, it can be challenging because neither of you really want to do the things the other one doesn't want to do, because you're very similar. And then there's the third relationship where you meet someone who's a really good match and who sort of fills out just like a business partner would, where like you're really good at operations, they're really good at marketing and sales, and like, okay, you can actually have a business together because you have like harmonious skill sets. And I feel like that's me and Kristall to a T. Like we really are a good fit, and we like the stuff that the other person doesn't like, in the like living of life, in the dishes and the finances, a lot of it. Yeah,
some of it. We have learned that the ones that we really neither of us like, actually those are the ones we hire out.
Yeah,
and that's really important, or we ask for support from the community or someone to help us out with because it's not worth forcing each other into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, one thing I was going to talk on that, and oh my goodness, is it gone? Yeah, that's okay.
It's okay. I wanna welcome Kaisa. We haven't acknowledged you. Hello, Kaisa. And Deanna. Kaisa is Kristall's mom. And she must be a master of relationships now. She's been doing it from she had 6 kids, and she's got a beautiful husband. And Deanna, welcome. Do you want to share, both of you, just a quick intro and who you are and what's your relationship to relationships?
Well, that's a good question. Oh, we can't hear you, Deanna.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I know I was, Kasia was on my thing. I was like, Kasia, do you want to go first? So hi, everyone. I'm Deanna. So funny because Facebook, I was just on there and it was like, this is like starting it. I was like, oh, it's happening now. So I just clicked. So super cool to be here. I actually help people get into relationships. I call myself a radiant love coach. And that is because it really comes from honoring our divine essence and who we are. And so I love what you were saying around, you know, we get triggered in all these beautiful different ways because it's an opportunity for us, for our soul to evolve and to learn the lessons that we need. And I think you're lucky if you just have those 3 relationships and then you get into like the perfect one. Like I was like, wow, I was like, oh man, no, I definitely didn't just do that in 3. Like it took me a few more than that.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you know, just committing to doing the work and becoming the best version of yourself. You know, I literally manifested my dream partner. God, literally, I had to like calm down, stop distracting myself, like get present, and was like literally guided to Vancouver. And Spirit was like, that's where your partner is going to be. And I had done, they say, you know, that expression, when preparation meets opportunity, like I had done all the preparation. I was so clear on what I wanted. I noticed in here, you guys are talking about Abraham Hicks and like aligning to like what you really want. Like I made a vision board with all the Google images that I found, like specifically for like everything that I wanted. I had this long, exhaustive list for a partner. Like I did my work. And then Spirit literally put me next door to my now husband. And 40 days from the day that I moved into that apartment, I met my husband on a Friday afternoon because I said, hey, to a hot guy. Wow. And literally like 30 minutes later, we were on our first date, and an hour and a half after that, we had our first kiss, and then we were never apart from that. So I love what you guys are talking about really just like aligning to like the law of attraction and using everything in your life as a learning opportunity to really become your best self. And then when you meet your partner, then they're going to trigger you in all new ways that you didn't know you were triggered about. And even just talking to I just got off the FaceTime with my husband because we're in separate countries right now, but he, you know, I was like, did not want to take personal responsibility for things. Like I just wanted to like, you know, skate away from it. And he was the one that like really held me up to it and like made me, you know, had me deal with the things that I had been avoiding my entire life. And so I just love what you guys are saying is that like, you know, continuing to be in relationships, we all have special relationships. Like we're all here to help each other and to teach each other things. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that's a really good, you missed the beginning bit where there was a couple questions about, you know, if I'm busy and how do I make time for dating, and that's such a good reminder if you've done and we were talking about doing the pre-paving and doing the lining up work, and you've kind of done those pieces. And then I had a teacher who said he was really a little more shy and socially awkward, but part of his job being a coach and being a trainer was to meet people and connect. So every time he had an event to go to, he would say, maybe I'll meet my next best friend there. You never know. And just like this fun and excitement. And it's such a good reminder too, that, you know, you can be walking down the street and meet your next partner. You don't have to go on a dating site and an app and have a whole formal thing about it, especially more easily if you've done the lining up work, and that piece is really valuable. So thank you for reiterating that.
Yeah, can I say 2 more things on that too, actually, just because you got me so excited. So one is really like what you just said is like approaching everyone as just like a new relationship. So you take the pressure off of any relationships. Like, oh, this is going to be my husband. Oh, wait, but he's not 6'2", so he can't be my husband. It's like all this, like these expectations around ourselves.
Yeah.
And the second, shoot, now I've just lost for what the second one was that you inspired me about. But yeah, I just think that, you know, letting that down and just having fun with it, like releasing that thing and not knowing when it's going to happen, but like really surrendering. I think that's the other thing, is like the big shift that happened to me was surrendering my timeline and realizing that I was on God's timeline.
Yeah.
And like, if it's either yes, no, or not right now, trusting the not right now, and something better is going to come up. And like, that's like what I have to like really, really help people like remember, is just surrendering that something more magical than you could have expected is coming.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
This
So
is great.
good.
I'm glad you
Actually, that reminded me of the piece
I know, it's
Thank
fun.
you. That reminded me of the piece that I wanted to jump in with. I was recently having a good conversation with somebody I know quite well who's in a long-term polyamorous relationship. He's been in a polyamorous relationship for quite a while, and he feels like he's, you know, kind of an expert now, or at least very well seasoned. And I was kind of digging in and asking him a couple of questions. That's not something I have experience with, so I was curious. And he was really saying, of course, the number one thing that Georgia and Silver, who were on before, and Dolphin have really talked about is communication, and honesty. And he was saying how most of the people he's engaged with in the polyamorous world do a really good job of being very clear with boundaries, very clear with communication, because they're kind of coming into the relationship knowing that there can be lots of hurt feelings, there can be lots of triggers. This is a bit of a more complicated situation. There's more people involved, there's more feelings involved. So he said when it works really well, there's very clear boundaries. Who does what, where, when, why, how, with what. Like, it's a very clear, almost, I was saying it sounds like a business. It sounds like when you're getting involved with a business partner and you're saying, these are your roles, these are my expectations of you, these are my expectations of myself showing up. He said it was very, very, the successful ones and the best ones are when they're just so honest and so clear with each other. And I was joking, but I'm not really joking, and saying he should host a workshop on polyamorous philosophies for the monogamous relationship, because I think it would be so valuable. And we started off a little bit with this at the beginning of our conversation here tonight, talking about how there's a lot of baggage that we bring into the idea of dating and relationships, a lot of romantic fantasy, sexy porn, whatever the bits are that you've built your ideal relationship on. And a lot of that is not necessarily much of a reality often. And that you come in with that, like, oh, if I don't feel this, or it doesn't right away, then I'm going to write this off. And I feel like if those who are looking for a monogamous relationship approached it much more like, these are the things, this is the way I want to show up in a relationship, this is what I'm hoping to, you know, how I want to be involved, how I don't want to be involved, like what this person was saying he experienced in these polyamorous relationships. I feel like we would do a lot better as a society in dating if there was a lot more of that. Almost not calculated in a cold way, but kind of thoughtful way of entering a relationship, instead of getting swept away or swept off in our own minds of what we're expecting the relationship to be. So I feel like that's something I'd love to explore one day, maybe in the future, is to have someone give a talk from that perspective, because I think that would be really valuable. And for a lot of us who are entrepreneurs and in the wellness world, a lot of people in our community who will be listening in, it's a good reminder, you know, you don't jump into a business relationship with no conversations about what you see it turning out, what's the end goal for the business, how do we want to work together, and have a lot of those kind of what people would call like hard conversations. But you make sure that, you know, those are in place so that you can actually, you know, relate and connect together. So that was an interesting thought I had, and I'd love to actually, I would be curious if Dolphin, if you have any thing to add into that too, with your, I know with Relationflix, for anyone who's just tuning in, Dolphin has a wonderful company project, passion, and I lost the Relationflix in sharing this kind of information with the community. So I'd love to hear kind of your 2 cents on yeah, having more of that clear communication like you would in a polyamorous relationship and a monogamous one.
Mhm.
How that could be beneficial for people.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, what comes to me is that in a monogamous relationship, it becomes quite easy because there's a simplicity to it, you and another, even though it's very complex, we can start to get overly simplified around what's required for this relationship to continue. Really, just 2 people have to choose to be there. And if we're not doing things well, we can still stay together. When you start to add more and more people, it becomes increasingly clear that the relationships and the kind of network of relationships are only as strong as their weakest link. So as you invite more people into the equation, there's more complexity, there's more stress and pressure on the people that are holding all of the connections. And it's, you know, I always talked about when you add a person to an intimate dynamic, 3 people instead of 2 people is not like +1. It's exponentially more to hold. It's exponentially more to take care of. There's way more required around making sure that needs are met, making sure that clarity is there in what's agreed to. And so I think what we can take from people who have found a way to be effective in their polyamorous relationships is that in some ways, many people have become quite complacent and lazy in their monogamous relationship. And I don't mean that in a mean way or to wag a finger, but just to say it's a little bit like growing a garden. You know, most of us want all of the fruit and vegetables of the garden, but we don't necessarily want to dig in the dirt. And that's not how gardens work. If you know, you can go to the store and buy something, and that's sort of like the fast food approach to dating or relationship. You can just get someone else to do the work and then you can go and get the fruit. But something happens when we know how to grow food on our own. There's something intrinsically meaningful to us about the fact that the food that we're putting in our body is the food that we created. And so if for those of us that care about that kind of authenticity, that care about the origins of the fruit that we eat, it becomes incumbent on us to learn, to grow, and to be able to have that level of communication. So, you know, in a few words, I agree with you, Kristall, and the application and implication of that level of communication is not easy. There are simple principles that really support it in being effective, but the application requires more maturity, more responsibility, more willingness to hold our own pieces, our own emotions as they arise, and more of a willingness to speak utter piercing truth in the interest of more authenticity versus the interest of comfort or getting immediate needs met. So, you know, I think when we look at what effective communication is, it's what kind of communication provides the deepest, most meaningful relationships over the longest time span. And I lay that out as a kind of target that we can start to shoot for around, you know, is my communication about meeting an immediate need, which is, you know, that's fine. But if meeting the immediate need is disconnected from what nourishes the individuals in the relationship long term, what you have there is unsustainable relationships.
So good.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I love that analogy of the garden. I think that's a really
Mm-hmm.
a good thing to keep in mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Is there anything that anyone would like to share? Questions, answers, ideas? Open for whatever.
Yeah, we'd love to, if you have more questions kind of on dating relationships in general. And then I feel like, because we did say that we want we did want to move into having a little singles mixer time. And I think what we want to really use that time for is to hear from you guys as to how we can support you in creating some fun singles events, how we can support you in meeting those people that you're looking for. So we definitely want to make sure that we have time to hear from you guys about that as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you can also share what you're looking for, because who knows, maybe your next sweetie is watching this on YouTube.
Exactly. So yeah, don't
Go ahead,
hesitate. Melanie, step on up.
Thanks. I know earlier Dolphin had mentioned something about integrated attraction. I just wanted to know if there could be maybe an example of, because that's a new term to me. So I'm just wondering if there's maybe an example for that.
Oh, good question.
Yeah, I'll give you an example from my work history. I used to work with an agency called Safe Teen, and the woman who founded it, this amazing woman named Anita Roberts, and she had a really challenging childhood. There was a lot of kind of abuse of power and control. There was physical abuse, there was sexual abuse, and she managed to parlay that into some really powerful, empowering work for teenagers. So she created work that supported young people in being more clear, more self-aware, more empowered. And she would tell this story when she was doing the work. She would say that because power and sexuality were kind of wrapped together with abuse for her when she was little, she had a very strong attraction to men that were essentially dangerous. So she would feel aroused when a man who was not necessarily mature, able to hold his own emotion, often men who had issues with anger, these were men that she found very attractive. This is an example of what I would describe as unintegrated attraction. So these are aspects of how her attraction system developed in early life, and that the attraction, of course, now the parental figures are survival to a developing child. Our ability to relate and connect with them from an evolutionary perspective is what allows us to survive. And then we naturally become attractive to those figures in the way in which they raised us, for better or worse. Now, an integrated attraction system would mean that, in spite of that being the history, that enough integration and healing has taken place where the attraction is no longer rooted in things that match or mirror the dysfunctional dynamics that were there in her childhood. So that instead of being attracted to these men that were sort of dark and aggressive and not able to manage their own emotion, the attraction system would over time develop in a way where she would see a man who was able to be present, who was curious, who was playful, who knew how to handle and hold his own emotions, who was responsive to the needs of others. And an integrated attraction system would be attracted to those things because those are the things that allow relationships to thrive over time. So I hope that kind of makes sense. It's a term that I've coined, and it just makes sense to me in terms of how an integrated or an unintegrated nervous system will relate to being attracted to other individuals based on the kind of attraction template that we got from growing up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So would it be a good idea to maybe figure out what was the unintegrated qualities of our past or patterns or beliefs, or just maybe kind of mentally or physically write down a list of like, oh, this is what I desire for my integrated attraction to occur?
Yeah, so both of those are helpful.
Okay.
And what I would say about the journey is your life will tell you what's unintegrated. So we can dig and we can go back in time and we can reach into memories, and that's all good and can be very potent in terms of having transformation. But the reality is that we're so intelligent that we will naturally, intuitively, unconsciously recreate the very dynamics that are not yet integrated in us, in our adult relationships. So you don't have to go very far. Now, if you mentioned being single for a long time, so it's also possible that we create a dynamic within ourselves where we create so many barriers to intimacy and relationship so that we don't have to really show up and face those pieces. And so that might be a part of your journey, is looking at how and where you make it impossible. And I use that word kind of colloquially, but you make it very challenging for you to find someone and or for someone to find you, and to really explore relationship. Like the way you stated it in my memory of the call is, it's like you just have trouble finding people you're attracted to, and you find that the people that kind of show up in your life, there's just not this spark. And so, exploring why that is, and is it possible that there's enough value in exploring relationship that don't necessarily match your picture of what needs to be there, but there's enough presence, there's enough willingness, there's enough curiosity where you're both going to learn and grow through the experience of being in relationship. And I think that doesn't have to be just intimacy, in terms of friendship, in terms of all the ways in which we can connect. Again, I have so much trust in our unconscious ability to recreate the very things that we need so that we can heal and put our past to rest. But conscious awareness, presence, and a willingness to feel everything that arises in that is required for that to really be fruitful for us.
Wow. Well said, Dolphin.
Very interesting. Yeah.
To add in onto that, I think that's what I was kind of touching on a little bit at the beginning, that a lot of my relationships early on were, oh, I can't be with someone like this because I was, and it didn't work. So I've got to swing. It was this pendulum swing from trigger to trigger. So they were like this, so I have to be with someone like this. And then they were like this, so I have to be with someone like this. So like Dolphin said, I made it almost impossible for myself because the window of eligible, available people that lived where I lived was very small and that met all my criteria. And I think that's a piece to kind of check out. And like Dolphin was saying, you don't need to necessarily know what are all your triggers or all your pieces, because they will show up. But you can do, Abraham Hicks talks a little about this, that of course you don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about your past relationships and the things that didn't work, so you don't want to be stirring that up, but you can use it as a springboard. I didn't like it when this happened, so I do want this to happen. I didn't like it that he put his whatever above what I thought should be. So I'd love someone who spends more time in a way that works for me. Or I didn't like that the way he was as a parent, so I want someone to be more involved with their kids, or whatever the piece is that you're swinging from, instead of just kind of reacting to it and, oh, I have to look for someone who isn't like this, trying to really stack yourself up with what's the opposite of that. So that's been my experience, and that's what I was doing a lot before I met Shine, was really, instead of like, I don't want someone like this, I really tried to go, okay, these were the things I didn't like. Now really spend like 90% more time than I spent on making the list I didn't like, really juicing up. So I didn't like this, so I want this and this and this and this, and I didn't like that, so I want this and this. And so really making sure that you're kind of attracting instead of actually attracting the things that you don't want, which is where some of that unconscious comes from. And like Dolphin said, don't worry if there's bits in there that you don't know you're running, because there are. And you'll attract it and you'll get to deal with it. And then you'll have that awareness about it. And like we said at the beginning, and like Georgia and Silver said as well, they weren't actually what we were each other were looking for. They weren't lined up at the time they met either for this being this perfect love affair. It was really, there was just enough pieces in the moment and enough openness to be able to keep seeing it through. And I think that's a piece too, that was it Silver said at the beginning, kind of don't cut yourself off before you've even started, and being open to trying it out, checking it out, not having this big expectation of it needing to be something life-changing, but that willingness can grow into a relationship. And 100%, I know Shine and I would not be together if we hadn't both been willing to show up in what to me and him seemed like a rather mismatched relationship at the beginning. So
I actually met another guy who was dating a woman with kids, or had just broken up with a woman who had kids, and he really was like, are you sure that you want this? Because it's a thing, it's a thing, like, be sure that that's what you want. And it wasn't what I wanted at all. I actively was like not looking for that. And I wanted to only focus on the business and have no distractions. And it was, so my mental mind was like, okay, this is fun, but
And about like
not
of all the
possible.
things, like it wasn't even like, oh, she doesn't work out enough or she eats meat and I don't like, it was not something that was, not me not having kids was not really actually ever going to be an option. So it was like the number one biggest deterrent for what Shine thought he was looking for in the moment.
Thank you, Deanna and Bai. And I kept meditating and getting into the vortex as best I could. And I kept receiving this message when I would meditate and get quiet. And I would ask the question that it's like, no, this is really good for you. This is what you want. Give it like, stay with it. Just don't go. Don't like throw it away. Just stay with it. And that's been a big way that Kristall and I have both balanced when things get really hard, is we've gone through enough cycles where we know that when we feel really good, it feels really right and like it is a good fit. And so even if we can get ourselves into a bit of a spin, which I don't do this anymore. I don't know if Kristall does, but I think we've kind of spiraled a bit out of this, but where we might in the past be sort of doubting, and is this the right thing? And is this what we really want? And now that we've been through enough cycles and we know that when we feel really bad, we can create these stories that aren't true. And then that can lead to, decisions and things that like I said, do you want to say something quick before you go? No? Okay, you're good.
Thank you, Mom.
Where was it?
Cycles, tuning in.
Yeah, that we've
It's
just
not
sort of
always easy.
We've just sort of learned that the thing to do when we're feeling bad is to get feeling good and not try and deal with anything that feels bad and fix it or like talk it through or whatever. It's like, just like leave the room, take some space, get feeling better. And then, if you need to talk about something, repair, whatever, proactively create a plan for the next step. But just yelling at each other or being mean to each other or like, venting when there's not, the other one can't really hold space, we've found to be very counterproductive, because it just creates more repair to do later. And I'm guessing, in the worst case scenarios for people, it ends up in the relationship ending, because they're just like, I can't deal with this, it's too much. And so it's that thing. So
yeah, I think that's a good piece to remember too, especially when we're kind of all, talk, it's lovely being in a relationship and it's so fun. And to really remember that never in our relationship was there, especially at the beginning, not thoughts of, I don't know if this is going to work, and that it was hard. And there was a lot of that. And for me, being through many long-term relationships before Shine, where I had those thoughts, and then yes, eventually it did end, and it was very painful. It was really hard for me to meet those times with myself where I was with Shine going, okay, here's the beginning of another relationship. I'm feeling the same way I felt in those other relationships, and those ended, and I was right, and it didn't work, and all that stuff. I proved myself right. So what is going to be different right now? And it was really hard for me not to pull that history with me and jump out early and sabotage the relationship early, because it did come up a lot for me. And it was something, like Shine said, with my kids. And for me, there was a lot of ways that he reminded me of my exes, which was really scary, because I thought I'm going to end up in the same position. And a lot of ways when he did not remind me of what I thought I needed in a partner and of my ideal. So I kind of had two proofs, like my future projection of what I wanted. He didn't match a lot of that. And my past history I was pulling up with me, he did match a lot. So it was really scary for me. And I had to do exactly like Shine said, and I had to really walk away. We created early on, I had insecurities of him cheating when we were fighting. So I thought, if we don't fix this fight right now, he's going to go off and cheat on me. So I had to be vulnerable with him about that and share that as soon as I could in the relationship. And we came up with a deal that we had some good communication about it, and that we would not end the relationship when we were feeling bad about it in a fight, and we would not cheat or go be with other people without a conversation first. And Shine felt really solid that that's not his MO, that's not how he's going to behave. And so that really, I needed that, even though he's like, I'd never do that, of course, but I needed that reassurance. And I asked for that really clearly. And I had to do reality checking when we were fighting. Okay, you're walking away. Are you going to go cheat on me? No, I'm not. Okay, I just needed to hear that. And I did that for a long time at the beginning, because that was a big piece I was pulling up with me. But I was not saying you have to fix me or change me. I was saying this could be supportive for me to feel okay to let this go right now, so he can walk away. And then I had to do the work of, what am I pulling up? Why am I feeling bad about him? What are the pieces that I have really activated in my psyche around relationship and around Shine, and are they true? And a lot of times I could see, A, they weren't true, and B, I was just in the shit anyway. I was feeling bad. And our deal with each other was, if I feel bad about Shine leaving his socks on the floor, which I keep bringing up, but it was a real thing for me at the beginning of a relationship. If I feel bad about that, I would check in. Do I feel good about everything else, but just bad about this? And the answer was 100% no. I always felt bad about a lot of things, including the socks, which were terrible. It was so painful. But really, I was actually having a bad day and feeling bad about a lot of things, and they were the trigger or the catalyst or the final straw. So I made myself a deal that I'm not going to talk to him about the socks until I'm feeling really good. And then if it's still a real thing, then we can, like Shine said, we can create some systems, and here's the laundry basket.
I've never heard about the socks, so obviously she did a good job, because I don't remember ever having a conversation or knowing about this before tonight.
And what I found was, of course, when I was in a good place in the vortex, I got ideas for how to communicate it in a way that obviously didn't feel triggering or scarring for him. And the behavior was able to shift, and I was able to let go of my expectations. So I think that's a piece too, to keep in mind when you're hunting for this relationship, or you're in the beginning of a relationship, to really check all those red flags and all those warnings. Of course, you might end up on a date with someone who's just a hell no, and that's fine. But check where those red flags real? Is that past I'm pulling up and putting on this person's face? Is it future stuff that I'm like, oh, they do this, there's no way we can be together in 10 years if they do this? Like, just kind of like, shh, you can make a mental note, and you can be like, sure, I'll address this on date 10, like give yourself a break. Like, if it's still a thing and it still comes up, we can talk about it, but let there be some space, because so much of it, we're just picking up from where we left off. And especially if you left off in a bit of a mess, which normally we do, because that's what ended the relationship. Give yourself some time to build some foundation where it's comfortable and fun to be with someone before you dig in and fix things and change things and make sure that you're completely compatible at the beginning. So, yeah.
Bye, Michelle.
Thank you so much
nice
for being here.
Thank you for being here. It was really nice to see you.
Encourage
Thank you so much. Really great to hear everybody. Thank you, Dolphin, and really great to hear you as well. And thanks for everyone else participating. Love you, Shine and Kristall.
Michelle is one of the first. She was one of the first ones in our new singles group that we have formed, and she actually did the thing that we asked everyone in the group to do, which is to start putting yourself out there. Say what you're looking for. Say what you're open to receive, how you want to connect with people, and to start putting yourself out there, because we love connecting people, and that's what's really fun for us. And we keep coming across people in the community, so we'd love to hear from you, Dolphin, so that we can make some connections. Dolphin needs
Don't go yet.
Go.
We love you.
We love you, Dolphin.
Thank you for being here.
Can you share with people, because they've, I'm sure, enjoyed your wisdomness self. Can you tell us, and we'll share the links, of course, but what you're offering the relationship community and how they can play along with you?
Relationflix.com is the education platform, and again, we're just warming up. There's going to be so much on the platform that is for people looking for self-awareness, self-development, relationship communication, conflict resolution, intimacy development. Like, all of that's going to be there in all sorts of forms. So go and check out relationflix.com. We have we have annual plans that are really, really accessible, as well as monthly subscription. And the other side is my personal work. Mostly you'll see me writing on Facebook and posting on Instagram. And on Instagram, my link tree on Instagram you want to speak with me about working directly with me, some unique offers right now for people that want deep, long-term support for transformation and sustainably so. Just check out my Instagram, which is Dolphin Kasper with a K. Very easy to find me online, and find my link to set up a time chat.
Amazing. So
And for everyone wondering, yes, that is his real name.
Dolphin Kasper with a K.
I love Dolphin, and we really appreciate you, and thank you for everything. You've really been a huge support to us and Unite, and it's just such a joy to have you in our lives, and I appreciated your wisdom, and thank you very much.
And congratulations on, so that's for everyone, Relationflix, so like Netflix, but for relationships. So yeah, it's an amazing space that Dolphin is holding for our community. So do check it out and reach out if you need help finding the links or getting connected to Dolphin, and we'd be ecstatic to support you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you
both. I love you. Thanks for having me. I look forward to more, and we'll be connecting and finding each other more and more as we go.
Aw, love you so much.
Yeah. Wow.
Send love to your family
Love you
for
too.
us.
Much love.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. We will do. Cheers.
Thank you, Dolphin.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Thank you.
I know this Unite show is new this month, so I was wondering if you might have plans to do a relationship theme monthly or every few months, or you'll let us know when you're ready to share.
Yeah, we're definitely feeling like there's, of course, a million subjects that we're excited to talk about. So last week we did marketing and mindfulness, which was super fun and really interesting. And next week we've got talking your tech questions, so bringing your tech questions to actually our Unite Tech team. So for people building their websites, if they want help with ads, any kind of tech questions, we really want to support the community in learning more about that and getting the support they need. So that's going to be next week. What do we have lined up after that?
We have one, it's like a vision board kind of manifestation
right.
one. We thought, for New Year's coming up.
Yeah, lining up for our new year, getting your prospective relationships on there and being nice and clear. So we definitely, we don't have yet set like that once every month we're going to do a relationship one, but I do think that it feels like it is, we always listen to what the community is asking for from us and what we're getting a lot of requests about, and relationships is definitely high up there. So I do think we're going to be cycling in some kind of relationship thing pretty regularly. And then the other piece that we want to do for anyone who wants to check out our Unite Singles group, so you can find that on Facebook, it's just Unite Singles. And what we want to really do with that is start to use it as a little bit of a platform for people. Like I said, Michelle already did share just a little bit about what she's looking for, what she's open for. We want to be able to share resources on there. We'll of course share the replay of this call, and to start really finding out what will be useful and valuable for the singles in our community and how we can support them better. And definitely if more calls like this are helpful to you, we'd love to hear that there. And then I'm sure we'll probably get in some polls and things for what will be most supportive. And we do, as we are in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, we're also excited to potentially host some meetups as well and get actually everybody in a room together and connecting together. And we do have a lot of other people in our community who have a lot to share on the kind of more conscious relationship angle. So we'll hopefully be getting some different speakers as well to come in and talk. And yeah. All kinds of fun stuff planned.
Great. And I know at the beginning when you started recording, you said that you did live on Facebook, you do live on Instagram, and then do you put this on YouTube as well? I'm just wondering where you put all the content.
Yep.
Exactly.
We'll probably show the YouTube link the most. It seems to be a good place to funnel people, and then we'll also put it on Unite and most of our channels that can host this video.
Yeah.
We might take little clips and put them on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you for your questions.
So we've got three more people here. Apologies. I feel like it was false advertising because we haven't done a single mingle. I don't really know what to do about it other than if you guys want to share, you have an idea?
Yeah.
I was thinking if you guys want to share a little bit about, who you are and what you're looking for, that could be a way to just sort of share. And then I have a selfish Unite focused question at the end.
What I was thinking, especially because it's a bit of a more intimate group and it might feel intense for people to be like, hi, this is me and this is what I'm looking for, although we're totally open to hold space for that as well. What I would love to use this for is a little bit of you guys are obviously our target for this community and who we want to support. So like exactly what Melanie was asking, what would be valuable for you in being supported by Unite in your single to non-single journey. And also we could do a little bit of, if you want to, what I was thinking, if there was more of us and we would do more of a mingle, what we would get people to do is just kind of share a little bit more informally, instead of like, this is me and what I'm looking for, but kind of like, this is what I value. These are my values. These are maybe some of my mistaken beliefs that I'm working on. I'd love support with kind of just unraveling that so that we can be a little bit of a support for each other in this community. And I think my intention is that that then spills out into the group as well, where in the group, we're able to kind of share that and support each other in that as well, where you can say, hey, I'm wanting to start dating, but I'm feeling nervous about this or that. So yeah, that was kind of
Thanks, Allison.
my thought, but thank you,
Bye.
Allison. I know we've run a little bit long here and we appreciate everyone coming, and maybe we'll just have to have a whole nother singles event and rally everybody and do that again soon.
Thank
you so much for being here,
Nice to see you
Allison.
again.
I was actually going to share this week on the Facebook group, but I didn't have time to write up what I wanted. But I plan to do that this week. So I think I'll just do that instead of sharing here, because I'm going to
Yeah,
get going
sure.
as well. But
I love it.
thank you very
Amazing. Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much for being here. And we're really excited to keep supporting the community. And it feels like this is, yeah, a need. And I sure wish there was someone holding this space when I was single. So yeah.
But you found a wonderful guy, so it works out well.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of
Thank
why
you.
we haven't done a little bit of this in the past, is we're like, we don't need to, we're in a relationship. So, what's the point of us hosting like singles events? And then we were really getting the message that people are like, hey, but we need like, support and inspiration, and you guys hold such great space for that. So we're like, okay, I guess we'll do this.
I do have an idea.
Yeah.
Within the Unite singles group, I was thinking that if we want, we can kind of host or suggest an event, and then we can plan ourselves instead of you guys organizing everything, because I know you guys have lots of groups and lots of things going on.
Yes,
So
please.
we can initiate ourselves to like create an event. And yeah.
Oh, I love
I
it.
fully support
You're
this.
exactly on the same page. That's what we were really hoping for, is it would kind of be like, hey, I'm going for a walk on the beach, and does anyone want to come? This is my area. And that it doesn't have to be, again, like, oh, you can only come if you're a male because I'm female and I'm interested in men. That we're supporting each other. You guys are supporting each other in having these, like, okay, we'll go for a walk and it's going to be with a couple other women, but we're all going to talk about conscious relationships and what we're attracting, and bring that mindfulness to it and support each other in changing our beliefs. And that it doesn't have to be, oh, they're just dates, or it's just meeting up with people that I'm interested in.
Mhm.
Because like we were talking about earlier on, we need to, what really supports us in attracting the relationships that we're looking for is putting ourselves around people that believe it's possible too. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely
Just having a
think-
discussion on relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just having a fun event, like going bowling or going to a restaurant or like
Yeah.
something fun. I feel like that's where I've met most of my people that I've become intimate with, is like at
Yeah.
events and at
Yeah.
parties and doing fun things. I've literally never gone on a date that I like, just where I like dating app, or you're like, oh, let's go on a date. Like I always just meet people through things, and then it just kind of happens. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
So
I love that idea.
no, don't feel like you're stepping on any toes. Step on in.
Oh yeah, you can
Suggest.
create events for the group too. You
Yeah.
can like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna go to this restaurant, when works for everyone, or I'm going bowling.
And
or
once you start
whatever.
it, we'll pump it. We'll
Yeah,
send
we'll
people.
promote it.
We'll invite people, and we'll get it going.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd be more than glad to be a co-organizer, because I do have experience in co-organizing events back when I used to do Meetup.
Oh, perfect.
So I would love to coordinate with Melanie if she's open to that as well.
Amazing.
Amazing. Now we're talking.
So good. I love it. You guys will be our two core coordinators, and
Yeah.
we'll co-coordinate with you, and we'll get some stuff happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Are
it.
you open to that, Melanie? Are you open to that suggestion?
Oh, she might have stepped away.
She might have stepped away.
All right. All right.
How are you doing, Nizar? Do you have anything you want to share before we
Not really, just the app thing. The Android build is about to be launched this
Oh, fun.
hopefully tomorrow, if not next week, the latest. And
what's the elevator pitch?
the pitch for Space Village?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's simple. It's a platform where property owners, and event planners can connect, because event looking for places to rent to host events, and property owners have
It's like a venue marketplace.
Yeah, because real estate, it's not working anymore. So
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a great
Amazing.
idea.
So you'll know all the good places to host a singles meetup.
Yeah.
well, we'll get there.
Love it. That sounds really cool. If your intention with it is to maybe one day sell it, we might buy it. Because we're gonna want to build something similar. So
sure, yeah. I'm using Clubify as a platform. It's a really unique platform where it's censorship free. So this is the big beauty, right? No data mining being sold to third parties, nothing like that. So
Nice.
cool, man. Congratulations. Good for you. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Exciting.
Any while you're here and we have you, any thing that you would like support with, either personally, professionally, and also is there anything that you've seen from Unite or us on social or email, but also on the platform itself, that you were like, oh, this isn't working, or this could be better, or I want this built, or I'm just looking for general feedback.
Right. I honestly have been very busy with, like the app and everything. So I didn't really do a thorough check on Unite, but I'll definitely do that. But I think, in my opinion, I think it's offering a bit too much, so one can get lost. So if we can have it more focused, I think it would make it easier. That's
the
just,
app?
the very, surface level, opinion, until I dig deeper and give you a proper feedback.
Got it. Are you talking about the app or just Unite Social in general?
I think Unite Social in general, it's it's doing so many things, it gets confusing.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Cool. Yeah, that's great feedback. We're definitely thinking about that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Brother, lovely to connect with
Thank
you.
for inviting me. This was great, and looking forward, to seeing how we can create the next event or co-organize the next event.
Yeah, we actually don't have a meetup yet. So if you want to, I don't know, we don't know how to use it yet. So
yeah,
happy to learn and create a Unite meetup.
Sure,
Unite
yeah, we
Vancouver
can
meetup.
definitely look into that. But maybe we'll be using Space Village events instead, right? Because that's the whole
perfect.
Yeah.
There you
sounds
go.
great.
As
Sounds
soon as
great.
the Android build is out there, I'll definitely reach out to you and see how we can utilize it and have some kind of partnership or collaboration, with Unite, and see how both can add value to each other.
That sounds great.
Yay.
I love it, man. Really, really nice to connect here,
Yeah.
and appreciate you and what you're doing in the world. And we'll connect soon.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Ciao,
Have a
amigo.
good night.
Bye.